I call to order this meeting of the Zoning Code Updated Citizen Advisory Committee for January 15th, 2026. Can we have roll call, please? Here. Craig Baggett, Gina Smith, Laura Jones.
Here.
Selena Powell. Ray Selman. Okay. It is online. Good. Do we have any public comment online? See no raising of the hand. I don't see anybody to talk. Okay. So move on. Minutes of the meeting from December 18th, 2025. Does anybody have any comments or questions on that? If not, I'll hear a proposal. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. That is passed. New business, chapter 13. Scott, do you want to cover that, or Clover?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, late afternoon. Is it evening yet? I don't know. I guess depends on how you look at it. So chapter 13 is one that we went over last time. Just see if the committee has any more comments or questions. If not, you can take action on that one. Is there any additional comments or questions on chapter 13, which had to do with amendments, mostly for things like text amendments, rezones, that kind of stuff, what those requirements look like?
I had one question on page 15, section G. It mentions the governing body 4 times. Is that town council?
Let me get to that. You said page 15?
Page 15 at the top.
Okay.
15 of the, not the packet.
15:15. And under G.
Where we are.
Yeah. It's really page 20. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, that would basically be the council. A lot of this language we try to take directly out of ARS.
Oh,
So-
okay.
With those protests and stuff. Do you have a comment on it?
Yeah, just the reasoning that we didn't specify council specifically is that these also go to planning commission. And so like if there were to be a protest with the planning commission's approval, then this process would still be the same. So when we say governing body, it's so that it covers the commission and the council.
Okay.
Or Board of Adjustment.
Right.
Right, yeah, we don't want to limit that language, but yeah, we do pull a lot of this wording, if not all of it, word for word from ARS.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? If not, do I hear a motion for acceptance?
I'll make a motion that we accept the changes and revisions to chapter 13.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, and it is approved. Okay, so next one, well, I guess we'll go to chapter 11. Scott, do you want to, or Clover?
I'm going to let Clover take it over this one a little bit, if she wants to. But just to remind the committee, chapter 11, if you were aware, if you remember, this went through a couple months ago to the Planning Commission and to the Town Council for kind of a I guess the best way to say it is an emergency kind of changing on the design review aspect of it and who approves what because of the state requirement that as of January 1st, all design review and plats and that kind of stuff no longer can be held at a public meeting, and the planning commission can no longer approve those, nor can the council. So that all changed to basically state that staff would be making those administrative approvals. We didn't have time to go through this fully at that. We were just trying to correct it to make it meet the state requirements, but now it's in front of you to address further changes that we wanted to get that we just didn't have the time to do it because we had to get through that quickly.
So for chapter 11, we felt in that design review and site plan review are really one and the same. And so instead of having them separated out, it's just design review, which includes site plan review, but they're not like separate processes.
It repeated a lot of the same steps and the same things. And at the end of the day, the people that would look at the site plan review are going to be looking at design review anyways. So it didn't make sense to keep both of them in there.
Mhm.
Should we be keeping it, should we keep it design review, or should it be site plan review and design review as part of that versus design review and site plan review as part of that? Like, it seems to me like the bigger picture is site plan review, because you're looking at the whole site plan, and then design review would be part of that. Just a thought.
No, that does make sense. Is definitely a great comment. We can definitely look at how that wording might work better.
The content perspective, I just think like when I think of somebody coming in, like we're gonna do a site plan review, which is like looking at the whole thing. And then design review is part of that versus doing design review and site plan review as part of that.
So design review would also incorporate site plan review, but I guess, let me see if I can say this and not, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Let's see if I can confuse everybody for a minute.
Go ahead.
Everything should have to have a site plan review, but not everything should necessarily have to have a design review. Does that make sense? So, we may get something that's small scale that doesn't need design review. The design review is not applicable to it, but we're still going to do a site plan review on it. If it does have to have design review, then we definitely would do the site plan review first and then design review in addition, or
Right, and also, people don't apply just for site plan reviews.
right.
There is no like permit that's a site plan review. It's just you apply for a rezone, or you apply for a new commercial building permit, or you apply for a design review, or you apply for a conditional use permit. And all of those things incorporate a site plan review within. And so this section really, like I said, we really revamped it to follow the application and the rules for design.
Yeah,
That's what
because
this-
the site plan review is going to be done anyway, so it doesn't necessarily have to be spelled out in the code itself.
So there will not be a chapter 11A just for discussion. That's a site plan review chapter.
No.
I'm just, because will people be confused? People be confused if they're looking for a site plan review and we don't have one?
So there's approval standards and criteria. I believe
I would say no, because the site plan review is kind of a given. It's going to happen anyways, no matter what. And so like Clover said, we don't have, people will specifically apply for design review, but if they have to go that route, they'll give us everything they need and we'll review it. We'll do kind of a site plan review anyways. So the way it was put in here is they were so similar, almost the same thing, that we didn't need everything twice in there. So we thought the site plan review is kind of one of those that's going to happen anyways. We'll take that language out and put in the design review language, because that's going to be the more important stuff that we want the process spelled out in there, what that looks like, what's required, who those people are that would review it.
So, and also I think I was just thinking about that is a number of people might, it might confuse people more if we called it site plan, because most of the elements of site plan review have become much more administrative and not really dealing with this public involvement part. So I'm kind of liking that it be design review so that we don't confuse that other process, which has to take place anyhow, but it's much more administrative.
And that kind of takes place during our PAR or
Your
pre-application review.
process.
Yeah, that's where, we'll ask them to bring in that initial site plan. And yes, it can be very conceptual in the beginning, but it gives us an idea of what they're trying to do. We can give them the feedback. So then when they come back in with more of a picture of what they're doing, it starts falling under design review more so than just calling it site plan review. Does that help?
And just wanted to, that like the checklist that was under the site plan review, like I changed the title to submission. plan. That's the checklist that we use for the site. So what's required is still there. We have a couple of sites.
Is that on page 7?
Let's see, that would start on page, if you're looking at the top, yeah, page 7.
Is column 2 and column 3, is the labels for the columns, are they over shifted left by some? Okay, that's what I thought.
So
Yeah.
I do want to point out too that even though the planning commission can no longer look at design review applications and projects, we're going to keep the requirements of submitting for it the same. Even though it's only staff that's going to administratively review it, it'll be just like historically applying to go to the planning commission for design review. We're not going to change them officially applying what they give us or anything like that, so that we can keep it consistent and keep that process the same. So we don't have one project that submitted a few things that this other project didn't submit or anything like that. It's standard across the board.
Okay, gotcha.
Hey, Scott?
Yeah.
Can I just make a comment I found in here? It probably was in other examples, but one thing I would suggest changing is it mentions hard copies quite a bit. And being that this is a code and not like an application document, if you put it in the code, it's going to be much harder to change as the future or technology changes. So I would just remove where anytime it says it has to be, however many copies and hard copy, things like that. Because then in order to change that requirement, you'd have to come in for a code update every time.
Yeah, that is true. That is a good point. Thank you. I think we can look at changing that language to maybe just say something along the lines of submittal as, submit the number of copies or whatever is required, or
Right.
on the application or something.
Right.
We just put that on the application.
Right, so
Yeah, thank you, Jessica.
they can ask,
Yeah,
they
We-
can
we-
ask,
we can make it more of a policy.
right,
Yeah.
And that way, like Jessica said, if we want to change it because it's not working, or we think we need more, or we need less, then we can just easily make that change on the application. So I like that.
Yeah, like in section 11020, like design review procedures, it talks about two 24 by 36-inch printed copies. You can just say 24 by 30-inch sized electronic, documents or something. You can just say the size that you want them to have the PDF as. But yeah, that way it gives you more flexibility. And like you said, it's a policy that can go in your application documents and you can change it at will whenever you want.
right, right. So that would be.
Everybody on board with that? Okay. and you'll see, sorry, go ahead. I was just saying, I don't know, we kind of just jumped around a little bit, but I was, just because I'm on page 4, on the top right, page 4 of 36, you'll see that, we do list who we're going to distribute these copies to. That way everybody has a chance to at least look at it, even though, we can't take it to the planning commission like we keep saying, but it doesn't mean we can't send it out for all the other jurisdictions and departments and everybody else who should have a say on it, or at least look at it. They can still do so.
And I did want to mention that we are, it's not in this version. We're going to do this at a later date. But because we really want to delve into and work with you guys. Well, you guys might not be, I think the commission might be done when we're done with this, but work with the planning commission and such, and the council to really figure out those, the design review criteria.
Yeah, so that's definitely coming, due to the nature of it, and we do want to research it, see what some other places have come up with, just because it is so new. And the fact that we have to get this done by a certain time, the design guidelines would come back. Whether that comes back as part of the code or comes back as another adopted policy or something like that, that's yet to be determined. But that's definitely something, if this committee's still in place, we could discuss it, or we'd at least take it to the planning commission and council to discuss what that looks like moving forward. We're hoping to get it done before we do this entire code update. It is possible, but it just wasn't something we had time to get done for this meeting to get through this.
All right. So I don't know how you guys would like to go through this. There's just so many changes. If anybody has specific questions, I think that might be a better idea. I would like to mention all the blue highlighting. Those were sections that we feel really should go into the town code for engineering and public works. But that was something we wanted to make sure Virginia was on board,
Yeah,
on
that's,
board, and it made sense that these sections, go into the town code under engineering. So I don't know if you all had a chance to look over all those highlighted sections, but those were our suggestions. There's one more kind of hiding in the back, so.
Is that something that you agree with, Virginia? So,
Duplicated here, so it should be pretty easy to rearrange a little bit, make sure all of the bases are covered.
and we'll work with Virginia and Public Works to finalize what this, making sure that we do take out what's necessary. If there's something we need to leave, we'll go ahead and leave that. So when we bring this back to you guys in a couple of weeks to make that recommended approval, you'll see that this has that taken out or left in, or however we do it.
Do I have my mic on? I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, yeah. No problem. Yeah, formatting sometimes. Ooh. Like I said, there was just a lot of duplication. So we really just wanted to clean it up and just make it more straightforward. And then again, remove this, the parts that don't need to be in there, that just make more sense to go into the town code.
Anybody else? Okay, so let's move on then to the prohibited plant list, which was handed out just prior to the meeting.
Yeah, so I'd like to mention that, I did indicate a couple meetings ago that I'd like to create this. Is it required? No. Does it help, especially, when we have water concerns and drought concerns and that sort of stuff? I think so. Is this a all-encompassing list? Is it set in stone? Is there discussion? Absolutely, we can talk about it. In my experience, this is a lot of what you see in different places that do have it. Not everybody has this, but from what I've seen, and the state does too. The state has some prohibited noxious weeds and that sort of stuff. So we did list some of those just to say, if you're coming in with any of these, you kind of can't. Now, we did leave some open for discussion.
Yeah, I have a question about oleander, why that's, I know it's toxic, if you,
Just because
Cat eats it.
it's kind of one of those standard things that, is, do we want to encourage the use of more of that? Or, I know some of this stuff, a lot of the stuff on here is in existence, but what the goal of this really is not to say that if you have it, you have to tear it out. We're not going to do that. What is saying, it's not even meant for somebody who comes in and builds a house and, plants whatever. We're not going to go
okay.
police that. This is really for larger developments, larger projects that have to give us a landscape plan. And then we can better say, okay, well, make sure you have what's drought tolerant. Don't bring in additional plants and bushes that have a lot of pollen or might be noxious or, any kind of issues like that. Some of these, and I didn't put it on some of these. I tried to. I could go back and look at doing it. Some of this stuff is highly flammable too, very combustible. So that's something to keep in mind. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
My question on the olive trees, is this include Russian olive? Because that's, Friends of the Verde has spent the last 15 years trying to get rid of Russian olive, tree of heaven, giant reed, and tamarisk.
it's on the back side.
Russian olive is on the other side. It's listed under like the Arizona
yeah,
agriculture,
yeah,
not
it's
weeds.
right there.
So it's there.
Yep.
It has to do with
Oh, it's on the noxious.
Yeah.
weed list.
noxious weed list.
Fine. I'm like, I just don't want to encourage anything that people spend a ton of time.
Along those same lines, and I'm no plant expert, so maybe it's here and I don't see it. What is it? Bamboo?
Bamboo.
That's
I'm
giant.
gonna say that.
That's
Giant reed.
Giant
It's,
reed, okay,
it's already there.
perfect.
Where is it?
Giant
Reed
reed. it's
up on the front,
Right here.
Oh, giant reed. Okay,
Mhm.
gotcha.
that's that bamboo
Yeah.
thing.
It is different than bamboo, and I think the
Mhm.
question is, do you want to include bamboo in this? Because that was also,
And we can, and to go back to your previous comment, you mentioned Tree of Heaven, right?
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's there, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I was just saying.
It's there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, so yeah, under Paradise Tree, it lists also known as Tree of Heaven. Okay. Yeah, we can add bamboo to that. That's no problem.
Anything else? Any other comments?
I don't see the plant list, but I just wanted to, in case it hasn't been, they mentioned with the previous time we had gone through it, the addition of Italian cypress was mentioned.
no,
And then the willow gooding, was meant to say it was limited to the Pex Park area. Was the last time we discussed it. I don't know if those are mentioned or if you're still feeling those, but those are the ones I have from the last time we discussed the plant list in person. I was there.
Gooding willows are native down by the river. So, so I'm not sure those should be prohibitive, and Italian cypresses are sort of signature trees of Clarkdale. So,
Right. These were trees that were permitted.
oh, yeah, then yes.
Yeah. So permitted, Italian cypresses were permitted, and then the willow, whatever, was supposed to be just in the Pex Park area by the river.
Right.
Can we get back to you on other plants to either include in this list or in the approved list?
Yeah,
as well?
absolutely. We can put this on for the agenda for the next meeting and go over it again if you guys want to do that. We'll just incorporate this because you guys already approved, was it chapter seven, was that landscaping? You guys are already 9?
Wasn't
Yeah, we
nine?
did that one of the last meetings. So this is just gonna fold in with that when we do move it forward to the planning commission and council. But yeah, we still have time to work on this. That's no problem at all. We can put it back on the agenda for the next meeting if you want.
Does Friends of the Verde care about vinca or maybe it's commonly known as periwinkle vines?
I don't think it's officially something that they look at, but
Mhm.
Vinca and the other one is Morning Glory.
Yeah, maybe that's another way to
That's-
say it.
That's the other one that's highly
But-
invasive, especially down
Right,
in the
in the
riparian
right-
area.
Yeah, but they sell it at Verde River. I've seen it at Verde River Growers.
Yeah.
But it's in certain places, it's pretty, it has invasive tendencies in certain areas when there's plenty of water, usually in waterways.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's something that we want to include in here.
I mean, it might be. Yeah, because those are sort of secondary invasives. I mean, the 4 primary are what they've been going after, but the
I wouldn't
Morning
consider,
Glory is also really bad, and the Vinca is bad if it's in the riparian area. If it's in your yard, it doesn't really matter, but it's.
but if
it's
it gets there,
Yeah, but
we
if it
don't need
gets
another
there-
opportunity for it to get there. I don't know.
Try to remove Morning Glory from a riparian area, it's not easy.
Because any kind of little stem can just make a new root. And that's how it propagates.
It's very sticky. Like when you, it's very sticky.
Any other comments? Okay.
I was just gonna say, if there's things you want to add, if you want to get me that information so I can add it to this, and then they'll be on there. So when we discuss next time.
Turn it up.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on, future agenda items. What are we going to be covering next time?
So, first I'd like to, I think we sent out an email. Is everybody okay? We can do a meeting on the 29th. Okay, that'd be 2 weeks from today, but then it would put us, it would kind of make up for the meeting we missed on the 1st. And then we still have our meeting the next week, a regularly scheduled meeting the next week on the 5th. Okay. We'll shoot for that. Hopefully we can get a quorum. We're going to look at going over chapter 5, which is conditional use permits. I don't think there's going to be much that changes on that because that's still something that can and will go to the planning commission and town council. We'll just go through and just clean up, things that might be outdated in it. And then we're going to look to potentially for February 5th, do chapter 12, which is the subdivision ordinance. And that is going to be a very, very big one. So we can look at doing that. Yeah, we can get it to you. I think we can do that. Yeah.
So comments back on chapter 5, since we brought it up. I'm not so sure it's going to be as quick as you think,
Okay.
because I think there's some additional things we need to look at.
Okay. That's fine.
Things that have to do with some of the stuff that's been happening around the big stuff happening around the state that could impact us, and especially with conditional use permits, i.e. data centers.
So I know that actually would not fall into chapter 5. That would fall into the individual zoning districts and or chapter what's the general provisions? What chapter is 4? Chapter 4 general provisions is more likely where we're going to put it.
Okay.
And that'll come probably at the next
Because
meeting.
some of the things are possibly, let's say, pertain in a zoned area that would require a conditional use permit. So if it doesn't fit there, we could at least discuss it there and say,
Yeah.
oh, maybe the better fit is going to be over in
Yeah,
chapter
because
4.
the conditional use permit chapter isn't isn't really to specify what
Yeah,
requires a
okay.
conditional use permit. It's just more the process and the steps, just like the design review process.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the specific
It's over
uses
chapter 4.
would either go in chapter 4 and or the zoning specific designated
Gotcha.
chapters.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely throw that in,
Okay.
but yep.
Anybody else for this? Top, okay, very good. Can I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
And I'll second.
Okay,
All right.
then we're adjourned. Oh, no, we need to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.